JT, welcome to ESPN 1000. How you feeling today?
Mark, Peggy, man, thanks for the intro there. You got me excited. I might have to go back and rewatch it myself.
It is. I got to tell you.
For punishment.
Yeah.
You're a glutton for punishment.
It is. You do great work. You keep it entertaining. We are big fans here. We wish you had better film to break down. First, before we get into the nuts and bolts of this stuff, have you found, though, that breaking down Bears film and Fields film gets you a lot of interaction with Bears fans, and that it's provided your site a lot of traffic?
I mean, the short answer would be yes, but I would say it's not just that simple. It's more, I really liked Justin Fields coming out of Ohio State, and so kind of following the draft process and getting ready for that draft, I really enjoyed his college film, and he was one of my favorite guys that class, and so no matter where he went, I was going to be interested. And then it just partnered up with such a, awesome fan base and people who care and are interested in it. And then it's just kind of bubbled into, the experience that is Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears the last couple of years.
Now, with what's happened in the last 24 hours or so, with him going to the podium as a former quarterback yourself, him talking about coaching, him talking about being robotic, do you understand where he's coming from, and does he have a point?
I don't know if I understand where he's coming from. I mean, he's in a pretty special, unique spot. I definitely think he has a point. I know that, anecdotally, what I say about my own opportunity to play when I finally got an opportunity to play, the reason I got a chance to play for the 49ers and Mike Martz was our coordinator was because I knew the system really well. And if I could go back and do it again, I wouldn't be such a robot to the system. I would use my strengths in their system, in his system. And so I think Justin's essentially saying the same type of thing, where he's got to, he's learning in real time. There's no one to model the way for him on that franchise. And so you've got to find that sweet spot of what information is applicable, what can you use in game, what do you want in your ear, what helps you, what doesn't help you, what slows you down. And so, he's essentially finding that out in real time in front of a microphone, which is probably not the easiest way to do it.
When Justin talked yesterday about the fact that he's got, maybe too many voices in his head, he's thinking too much. Can you see it, JT, on film that he's trying to do too much, that, his hesitations, not trusting his receivers? Can you see that he is got too much going on in his head and he can't pull that trigger?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think there are certainly multiple plays, if you dive deep into the All-22, where you can see his head is just kind of all over the place, going back and forth, not really settled. His eyes don't look synced up with where his feet are. And so it's just nothing seems in rhythm or natural or easy. And that's really a combination of probably many things. It's probably too easy to say, I'm just getting too much information in my head, and I'm not getting too many voices. It's got to be more of a streamlined plan, conviction in the players, detail in the entire offensive unit, every unit within that offense elevating their play from offensive line, pass protection, run blocking unit, perimeter, tight end, backs, and Justin. And so it's, that's the problem, is when it goes sideways like it is right now, it's hard to pinpoint one thing. There's not one reason why. It's all of these little variables that need to be tweaked and fixed to go in the right direction.
T.O'Sullivan joining us. You could check him out at the quarterback school. It's Waddle and Sylvie. And Tom Waddle played for the Bears in the NFL. He often breaks it down this way, JT, where he says, look, you could cut the field in half. You can roll them out more. You can run more. But then you're kind of putting an artificial ceiling on Justin. Would you agree with that? And what would you do as a solution right now, considering where Justin is, to get the best out of him?
Yeah, I think I don't love the idea of cutting the field in half, and they have done that already, in my opinion, to a certain extent, really to the detriment. And they haven't done it well schematically, in my opinion. I think that there are a number of things you can do. I think the first thing I would do is you have to be comfortable with him potentially getting hurt running the ball. You have to allow him to be him. I personally believe that he can flourish in a robust quarterback run system. That doesn't mean you have to run, military service academy option. but you can have a robust quarterback run game like many teams do in the league to take advantage of Justin's skill set and what he does when he runs the ball vertically on the field. And then I personally like moving the launch point to alleviate issues with the offensive line, but also take shots down the field. You can't just throw screens and hitches. So you've got to be able to manufacture shots down the field. And right now they need to be shots that Justin's comfortable with. When you turn on the film and you see him turning down corners or turning down that scissors concept multiple times, and things look blurry, let's find out exactly what he does, what he sees, what he wants to rip. If it's only deep ends, well, then let's find 10 different ways to do that. It's really not that hard. And so you interweave a quarterback run game, change the launch point, play action, and then you can mix in some of that normal drop back that you see everybody else do. And I personally would mix in a lot more motion, fast motion. Their offense, I would consider, for the vast majority of those guys, is slow. I think of Justin as one of, if not the most dynamic guy on the field. And so you have to create space different ways. You can do it with shifts, motions, and then I would even interweave tempo into what they do and go quick potentially and catch defenses off guard and make their defense that we're seeing a little bit more simple.
How are you seeing his wide receivers? Are they helping him? DJ Moore is a guy that the ball does not have to be thrown perfectly, and he seems to be able to get it and make something out of it. Darnell Mooney, I believe, is a good route runner. I could be wrong. Chase Claypool, I'm not quite sure. So what do you see from his wide receivers? Are they helping him?
I don't know if I could answer it. Are they helping him? I can say that from the film of the small sample size that we've seen so far, they do not appear to be on the same page either as far as the details, what I consider the details and nuance that goes into a high level Sunday passing attack, meaning we're throwing with anticipation. We're throwing with precision. There's timing routes tethered into what we're trying to do in the drop back game. That is not on the film. And so is that a combination of Justin not being asked to do that? Is that a combination of the staff saying in practice, hey, he can't do that? Can we not create space on the perimeter? Is it all of the above? I personally think DJ Moore is a very good receiver. The rest of that unit on the perimeter, for me, is probably overvalued from most people. I think many people thought that group was significantly upgraded. I'm not convinced that that's the case. Now, that's not an excuse. There are many people across the league that probably don't have elite tier one guys at every single position. But I'm always looking for people that can consistently win one-on-one and create space. And I'm not sure that they have one, if not multiple people who can do that.
It's funny, JT. We're talking to T.O'Sullivan, Waddle and Sylvie on ESPN 1000. You at times on the film breakdown, you call Chase Claypool my guy because you're singling him out a few different times. Even though he caught his first touchdown pass finally for the Bears, even though he bounced back and caught a few passes for the Bears, I don't believe you thought he still had a good game against the Bucs.
I thought he had a much improved game. I think it's a unique game. I thought it was a great route on that touchdown. That little burst nod post was really nice. I thought he had some really impressive blocks, but even his blocking in the run game, while he had a couple what I would consider like pancakes or half cakes, it just looks like it's a little bit about him and the hit, as opposed to going on to the next guy, helping your teammate up. That type of thing that you see blocking on the perimeter consistently. And so if you're not going to be a burner, if you're not going to be a guy who can blow the top off a defense or create space all the time, you have to do everything else well. And up until this point, in my opinion, for what they gave up to get him, that probably hasn't been the case.
In golf, we call it the yips. When you just, my husband has the yips when he putts, and everyone that sees it, they're like, "What in the world are you doing?" But it's just in his head. He just cannot have a fluid motion. Is it possible that a quarterback can have the yips when it comes to pulling the trigger and trusting that your receiver is going to be where he's supposed to be?
I'm sure that it is possible. I don't know if we want Justin to take all the change out of his left pocket and put it in his right pocket and put a T behind his ear or anything like that. But I do think that there's a way that you can get a quarterback into a rhythm. And again, another part that, it's hard to decipher in the all-22 is when you don't get a lot of plays, it's also hard to do that. So in the first half of that last game, it felt like they were never on the field, and so you have to get plays. You have to be intentionally get into a rhythm. You have to make the throws that you want to make. All of those things, I think, go hand in hand. But yeah, you can absolutely feel like things are out of whack, or the ball's not coming off your hand quite like it normally does. Things like that. That's part of playing the position and just being able to find your stroke and be able to get to it consistently, because it's not going to be perfect. It never is. And really, I always think if it's not great now, when the weather is good, usually, it's got the potential to get real bad if it starts getting cold, starts getting windy, starts getting rainy, starts getting, little winter mix. None of that makes it easier to throw the ball.
T.O'Sullivan joining us. It's Waddle and Sylvie on ESPN 1000. So you mentioned when he first came out that you were a big fan of Justin Fields. Right now that he's 3 years in, after watching a lot of his first couple of years in the National Football League, what do you believe Justin Fields is ultimately going to be in the National Football League?
Well, I mean, I think it's, to be determined. I don't have an answer for you. I think that my feelings about him and what he potentially can be has not changed. In my opinion, he's a dynamic athlete, meaning he is as fast as anyone going downhill. He's also, in my opinion, got a really great arm and can spin it down the field. Now, you have to be able to pair what he does. Now, does he get the ball out of his hand really quickly? No. Does it look like he can turn two, like you see some of these guys throw these quick screens at the line of scrimmage, or have all these crazy different arm angles? He's shown that he can do the arm angle thing. It just doesn't come out quick. For whatever reason, he holds the ball probably longer than I would like. And so you have to kind of be able to, in real time, make the adjustments to what the league is doing to you. So for me, I would say, hey, man, you got to go out there. You got to let it loose. You got to go. If something doesn't look right, don't hang in the pocket. Don't be for using his language, don't be a robot. Go create. Go get downhill. Go get us some easy first down so we get you into that rhythm to then be able to take a shot and drive the ball down the field so you start feeling yourself a little bit and all those types of things. And then I think the energy, the vibe, everything changes. And I really think it can change quickly. I think, when you're in it, like y'all are in it, and you're living it every single day, it can feel like it's overwhelming and drowning. Well, in reality, we're only 2 games in. Last year, it took them a while to get going. That's no excuse. In fact, that should probably, make things a little faster this time around to be able to make the changes and get this thing going in the right direction, because he's already proven he can make the changes. Now we just need to do it again.
But JT, if you were running this team and you had 2 first-round picks and both of them look now like they're going to be fairly high, with Carolina and with the Bears off to the slow start, don't you have to probably make a decision on Justin fairly? I know he's got this year, but he doesn't have much more than this year, right? For you to make the determination if you're going to be drafting one of these next quarterbacks quickly or stick with Justin?
I mean, that's every quarterback, really. I mean, that's every quarterback in the league except a handful of guys. I'll put it this way, in my opinion, anybody who has the ability to draft Caleb Williams, as long as he's going to go to the team, is going to draft Caleb Williams. I mean, there are only a handful of teams in the league that would not insert Caleb Williams this Sunday. That he's that kind of talent, in my opinion. Everybody else, it's, we'll see. I think Justin's still got a great runway to be able to prove himself, turn this thing around, show that he's a pro's pro and can overcome some adversity and right this thing really quickly.
I'm just curious what you thought of the quarterbacks coming out last year. Of them, of the 3 quarterbacks, 4 quarterbacks, who were you most excited about?
Gosh, off the top of my head, I think I had him Bryce, CJ, and then Anthony Richardson, just how they went, I think. I really like Bryce Young. I think he's really fun to watch. I think CJ Stroud has probably had the best kind of early start. Both those guys have shown that they can play with anticipation, look the part. Everybody's going to be nervous about Bryce Young's size. I think Anthony Richardson is dynamic. He's one of those guys that they got to find a way for him to be able to finish a game. Those types of things look like they're going to be a concern. But, man, he looks like he fits in on Sundays already. I think all 3 of those guys have been kind of pleasant surprises to this early season.
Tell all the listeners out there how they could sign up for your YouTube channel.
Yeah, the YouTube channel is just kind of like the home hub. So if you're interested in just kind of like what I consider, a little bit more in-depth, deep dives on quarterback play, offensive football, that's really what I try to do and just have fun with it. I really try to just create the environment of what it's like in an NFL quarterback room. So if you've ever wondered about, what we talk about, how we study film, how we look at the game, it's really me just having a conversation with you as you're not there, but you get to listen to me talk.
Keep dropping the F-bombs too. I like that. I like that you're unfiltered. We do a podcast called Unhinged, and that's how we go too. So keep bringing us that content, JT. It's great stuff.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the support.